Well, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to another week with Fathers Who Care. I think it's still early enough to still say Happy New Year, right?
Yes, indeed.
So Happy New Year to all of you all. And it's good to see that all of you are doing the good stuff that you all been doing. And we want to continue to bring to you, the viewing audience, information and people. Slide over just a little bit, T. Just make sure you're on. How's that? That way? Okay.
They want me to go over this way.
How is that? Is that good for you guys? So we got our producers out there, Amari, little Amari, and all of them folks. We got everybody. I guess they want you to be on this tag so they can get you in. Yeah, there you go.
Got it.
So we just wanted to make sure everybody's on live and everybody doing their thing. But I just want to make sure all of us are glad to be here, not being viewed, but being seen today. Listen, it's been that kind of week. It's kind of cold out, clippy out there, kind of nippy out there. But this is Chicago. What you expect for Chicago? Put your thermals on and keep it moving. Is that right, T?
Always.
Put your thermals on and keep them moving.
Yeah.
I got mine on, you got yours on. If you live in Chicago, you know, put your thermals on. But with that being said, listen, this is Fathers Who Care, and as always, what we try to do on this show is we try to bring to you, the viewing audience, individuals who have been vetted, who have been seasoned, who are really committed to what they do and what they say. And our guest this evening, I'm going to introduce to some and present to others another that our old good brother, T.O. And most of you know T.O. for the good work that he was doing in the community in relationship to violence and violence interrupters, and how he would come into the community and empower those, the least of us, how he would bring light to those in darkness, and how he would literally take a stand for righteousness' sake. He would take a stand for social justice. I personally think you're a social justice major.
Gotcha.
I think you stand for what's right. I believe you have a heart for the people. I believe you really have a conviction for trying to empower the least of us.
Yes, indeed.
And even though we have some of our good brothers, and I say our good brothers because all of us are some good brothers, and guess what, y'all? I'm going to tell you, everybody is an ex something. So let's get that out your head, all right? Everybody got some history, and somebody been an ex here or ex there, so don't get it twisted. All of us got a past. But this is what I'm really committed to, the fact that you was always trying to help those individuals who have been formerly incarcerated, or those who have been stigmatized, or those who have been ostracized. You've always been a light to those folks. Then, not only that, you had a voice. And the voice that you had, you say, I just want to share my voice with not just the community. I want to share my voice with the country. Because you used to travel all over the country sharing the good news.
Right.
And then you also, if I may, you also ran for governor. So can we talk about that later on?
Yes, indeed.
You watching Fathers Who Care. The number here is 312-738-1060. Of course, I'm your servant leader this evening, Walter Jones. Listen, so give us a call here at 312-738-1060. Our guest this evening is none other than T.O. Hardeman, Professor T.O. Hardeman, activist T.O. Hardeman, Father T.O. Hardeman, Brother T.O. Hardeman. So tell us, who is T.O. Hardeman?
Well,
Who's that? Who's that guy?
I'm just a father who cares.
Your father? I like that. That was
I
good.
like that, yes.
I like that. That was a good hit.
Yeah, no, I
That was good.
appreciate
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you too. That's why I'm a little bit under the weather today. But one thing I like about when I'm under the weather, I have more bass in my voice. You know?
Right, right.
Real cool. But now this is the thing. I'm the president of Violence Interrupters Incorporated. Ran for governor twice, and just a champion for the people. When you're working with the people, people should really understand that the work is unconditional.
Right.
Because if you put conditions on it, you're gonna get your feelings hurt. Because people let you down.
Right.
And we got to stay with God and do the right thing, for all people, really. But Chicago is a real twisted city when it comes to the black community. And guys like me, I love speaking truth to power. Any given day, you may see me with 1,000 people. With me, 300, 400, 1,000.
Now, you led a few marches here in the city of Chicago.
Well, we shut Lakeshore Drive down because the topic of discussion was, how is it that you have... five, you're not going to get into the race thing right now.
No, but just go ahead and talk the truth. Talk about equity.
Yeah,
You're talking about equity.
The reason that we shut down Lakeshore Drive, because it was, I discovered rather that when it comes to violence prevention, you got people that don't look nothing like us overseeing all the violence prevention programs, getting $30 million, $80 million, like Arnie Duncan, Tenny Gross on the west side. You got black folks that have been in the city all their life, can't even get $10,000. And you got these organizations receiving millions of dollars to reduce violence in the black community. It's not right. So then we have to raise our voices up, and not just that. It's a lot of work that has to be done in Chicago.
So let me ask this question. You're talking about violence interruption, then you're talking about programs, right?
Yeah,
Or you're
yes.
talking about intervention.
I'm talking about intervention, violence interrupters. I'm talking about, ex-offender issues, black issues.
So what about it? Are programs being? Are there any programs out here to empower those who have been formerly incarcerated? Are there any programs out here, or entrepreneurship, home ownership, that kind of stuff, to help those who've been disenfranchised?
You got programs out here, but you got me on your show. I usually speak out, speak up, and speak out.
Speak up.
The black community not going to change until we come up under discipline and order.
Okay.
Period. Which means nothing can move in the black community until black men and women unify as one, and then we can get everything done. Everything.
Okay. Now, I believe that united we stand and divided we fall.
Yes.
I also believe that we don't even know our own wealth, our own worth.
Right.
Because if we did, we would pool our own resources. And that we would bring the resources together so that we can be supportive of each other. I mean, as opposed to resources leaving the community, I believe the resources should circulate inside of its own community to empower its own community. So I think that we should promote each other, support each other, encourage each other, nurture each other, and make sure that first of all, we love each other. Because I think we done got away from loving and supporting each other.
Yeah.
Everybody comes, look, we got a new pair of shoes, so I'm concerned about the shoes as opposed to your conditions.
But what's killing us, we too divided. A divided house cannot stand.
That's right.
That's our issue. Now, we've been
Okay.
talking these same issues for over 30 years. It's time for new leadership in Chicago that's really going to organize. See, this old African proverb, when the elephants fight, the grass suffers, all right? And then another African proverb, you don't eat, I don't eat. So we got to just really go back to basics, man, and raise our people up with discipline and order.
Yeah.
Every young black man and woman, when they leave the house in the morning, they should do it. They should have a black man's oath that they take that states clearly, I will not bring no harm to my brother today.
Right.
I'm a part of a larger community here. So when they walk out to school, everybody on the same pathway. That's important because we got to teach our youth to love and appreciate our culture, love and respect who we are and where we're going.
Right.
See, the division is killing us every time we look around. Even when I ran for governor, I had more criticism coming from my own people than I had from anybody else.
Why you think?
Because we've been put it like this. We've been taught to believe that a black man that comes from the belly of the beast or the depths of the ghetto cannot be the chosen one to take care of any business on a higher level.
So are you saying that in the state of, I'm just asking a question,
Right.
in the state of Illinois, are you saying that African American people are not ready or willing to accept an African American governor and or mayor? Is that what you're saying?
No, I wasn't a Barack Obama type guy. See, I was the kind of guy that,
I'm talking about
right.
governor and or mayor now,
Yeah,
all right?
either one, governor or mayor.
Okay.
See, I'm not a Barack Obama type of guy. And see, I just wanted one term as governor so that I can in turn rebuild 79th Street, 79th Exchange, Madison and Pulaski, East St. Louis, Decatur, Peoria. I was going to really get the resources to be trickling down in the community and lift us up.
Okay. So let me ask this. So now you're still an activist, is that right?
Well, I'm a world thought leader, really.
You're a world thought leader.
Yes, indeed.
So and you're a professor.
Yes, adjunct professor.
And you're committed to organizing folks.
Always.
Right?
Yes.
So with that being said, what can we do as a community? Let's just talk specifically now about the poverty-stricken South and West Side, the West Side and South Sides. What can we do as a community to come together, to work together, to kind of bring peace and harmony and some stability back into our communities?
Well,
as a community now, I'm talking.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Ain't talking about no handouts.
Right.
All right?
Well, really, when I ran for governor, going back to the governor race, you had billionaires running, and the community, so-called community leaders should have secured $1 billion from these billionaires to help rebuild parts of the west and south and east side.
Okay.
That did not happen because you had everybody getting a few individual dollars instead of thinking as a collective. That's why real downfall came in at. Them people are not more qualified than me running for governor. The thing about it, what makes them qualified just because they got money?
Okay.
Seriously, I mean, does that qualify you? It shouldn't be that way. It's really hard for a common man or woman to really run for high-level office if they don't have all that kind of money, and it's not right.
Okay, so let's talk about that, Dan. You brought it up. Statistics and facts have shown that the governor's race was the most expensive gubernatorial race in history.
Yes.
All right?
Right.
here in the state of Illinois. Why is that?
Well, you had these billionaires like you got Donald Trump doing his thing. See, the reality is this.
But we're talking about governor now.
No, we're talking about
governor. This was considered.
Right.
This was considered the highest gubernatorial election
Right.
in history.
I know. Well, you had a billionaire that wanted that seat so bad he spent $170 million. That's what happened. You oversee a budget of $33 billion, and it's just a power grab. I mean, it's like, that job should have went to somebody that needs the job like me.
So you saying the budget for the
Right.
state is $33 billion?
Yeah.
How much is the budget for the city?
The city, I don't know the city budget. I know the state budget.
Is it more than?
I ran for governor.
Is it more than the state?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so maybe about 15,
Something
20
that
million, something like
possibly,
that. Okay,
right.
so what is the state of Illinois?
Well, you still got 1.7 million people living in poverty statewide.
Okay.
We got to work hard in the area of criminal justice reform. Ex-offenders need a lot of help. And then basically we need to transform the Illinois Department of Corrections. Guys are being locked down 23 hours a day still because there are no real programs. And the people that are running some institutions, it's just time to do some revamping, in other words. You got a lot of issues out of the state. But what I'm really concerned about, once again, is the economic hardship that's plaguing the South, East, and West Side of Chicago and downstate, whether it be some of the white communities, black communities. Now, East St. Louis, downtown East St. Louis looks like a disaster, like a bomb hit it 30 years ago.
It really do.
But they turn out and vote a lot down there.
Yeah.
And so for these machine politicians, see, we've got to unify. Imagine 200,000 black folks all up under one banner here in Illinois. Then we can start seeing some progress. Because what happens is that the people that are getting the contracts and the money, they represent the upper level middle class.
Okay.
So the governor, people in power may think they're doing something for the brothers and sisters on the bottom level, but they're not. Because the proof is in what you see in the community. Okay. Look at the Regal Theater. Everybody talking about open up. It's just like right there on 79th and
Absolutely.
Stony Island.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. Can you look at real institutions in the black community that you can think about and say, look here, this is a black institution built by African American people. You got Northeastern University. That's a good thing. Center for Inner City Studies.
Right.
And you got Malcolm X College. But those are not institutions built by black intellectuals, males and females.
So tell me, I felt a certain spirit from you.
Yeah.
So what's that spirit that I'm feeling?
What you feeling is that it's time to unify. It's time for black folks to stop making excuses, stop pointing the finger. Everybody need to get in one big room. One big room. First you do it on the west side. One big room with everybody. Take out, roll your sleeves up, go to work. Come out on one accord. Do the same thing on the south side and the east side and say that we're gonna work as a unit.
So let me ask this here. Do we have effective leadership? Is there a black agenda in the city of Chicago?
If there's a black agenda, I don't see it being played out nowhere.
Okay.
I mean, when you think, come on now, we got I counted the dilapidated storefronts, the closed down storefronts from 79th and Damon to 79th and Exchange, over 1,000.
Okay.
I've counted all the Courtway buildings and all the buildings that are just like, it's desolate. The community is under attack by dope. Illegal guns, people bringing dope in the black community. That should be a thing of the past. It's been like 30 years later. We still got people bringing dope in the black community. The people bring it in our community. You can't even sell it in their community.
Well, listen, I just want to preference this as we move on to the show. Look, this show is entitled, What Can We as a Community Do to Come Together to Empower Our Community? To empower our community and save our children. What can we collectively do? Right. Not what you do by yourself or you do. What can we see? Let's stop talking about what he ain't doing and what he ain't doing, and let's talk about what we can do. Now, this is a new day, a new era. They say that it should be a different state of mind in the state. Then we're going to talk in a minute about this crazy race for mayor in the city of Chicago, which I think is another opportunity. I don't know, with different thoughts, but I think it's another opportunity to kind of bring some kind of, hopefully, some understanding to some people to vote. Please vote. I'm asking you all, if you haven't registered to vote, please register to vote. Please do your due diligence to get out there and voice your concern. I don't know who you're going to vote for yet, but I'm going to ask you to listen to folks as they talk, follow what they say, hear what they say, and see what they do if they're doing what they say. But with that being said, what do you think personally we should do as a community to rally ourselves to make a serious stand? I mean, we don't even, back in the day, we had values, we had norms. We had big brothers and big sisters on the block.
Yes,
we don't have that no more.
Right.
So why is that? Why we not caring for our own babies and our own communities no more?
Well, the dope game messed a lot of families up. I mean, we still got a lot of, productive African American families in Chicago, but we've been under siege. We
Okay.
fighting too. See, you can't build your shield on the battlefield. We fighting too many enemies.
Okay.
We fighting all over the place. The liquor stores. We
Okay.
fighting the dope game, the illegal gun trade. Our
So
young brothers.
have people just given up?
No, they ain't giving up. Just young brothers being killed every other day in Chicago. And we've been doing this for 30 years. It's time for radical change in the black community, which means that black men in particular should come up under discipline and the order in their community where we are all one people. And nobody, if people not hearing me when I say that.
Can you repeat that? Can you?
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna preference you into this one.
Yes.
What you just got through saying, you said something about men, particularly African American men, need to do something, and I figure I'm gonna preface this by saying, Tio, let's take this caller. Then when we come back,
Yeah.
tell the audience, tell our viewing audience what you just said about what men need to do in the community. I heard what you said. I think men need to hear what you said. Men, you need to take your rightful position as the leader of your tribe, the leader of your family, and the leader of your community. Caller, you on the air. Your comment or question? Caller. I think we may have. Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, your comment or question, please. We have Professor Tio Hardeman on the show tonight. What's your comment?
I have a comment, and first of all, I agree with everything that Tio is saying, and I agree that men in general need to come together, and come up with a plan, But first of all, they got to learn how to work together so that you all can come up with a plan so that we can make a difference, Because I feel like it starts with. I feel like it starts with the men, and I feel like our black men are so powerful and have so much power, but a lot of them are so scared to use it. Everybody's got in so much fear of what the white man can do and this, that, and other too. A lot of times they're scared to step out, just like we're scared to knock on doors and ask people to get out and vote when we know the fact that a lot of our folks do not vote is the reason why we got different people getting into office that don't need to be in office. Those that need to be in office that don't make a difference, we're scared to vote for them because we voting for the person that's sitting up talking about, I'm going to offer you a couple of dollars if you just put that voting in for me. Our people are insane. And I just feel like something needs to be done. And if that means a lot of powerful black men come together and make a difference, then do it.
Well, thank you so much for that call. She reminded me of a proverb that when spider webs unite, we can tie up a lion.
Yeah.
All right, the ruins of a nation begins in its homes. Yeah. So, what you say, Tio, about the men?
I'm just for everybody watching. If I never said anything to anybody, black men should unify as one in Chicago and come together on one agenda, stop playing games, drop the personalities, drop the egos, and go to work. And we need to draw out a real manifesto and a plan that dictates progress in the black community. We got to drop all these false titles and drop all these false beliefs and take care of our business, right? So, see, you got to understand that Irish people did it many decades ago. They own a lot of the construction companies. They became prosecutors, judges, and police officers. The Italians went into organized crime and began to control all the industries, in other words. And then you got a lot of, ethnic groups, they took care of their business. They not out there killing each other like we killing ourselves right now. But there's a lot of variables into why we killing each other.
So let me ask you this, T. The number here is 312-738-1060. Of course, we have Professor Tio Hardeman. Tio is giving us a full of what we can do to pool our resources, what we can do to come up to empower each other. Also, you made a statement, and a guest made a statement about what can happen when real men come together and little boys sit down. See, when little boys sit down, real men stand up. But boys and men can't hang together. Somebody got to be in charge. All right.
Yes,
so Tio, you was referencing some good things about what we can do if we came together,
right? And
had a real agenda. Now, if you had to say what that agenda, or an agenda for the community could be, what you see as an agenda item?
Well, number one, economic development. You have a billionaire governor right now that got a whole lot of black votes. Economic development should be
Okay.
at the top of his list in the black community. Anytime a million black folks vote for you, however many it was, you owe the black community, for
Okay.
real. Not just to appoint people in positions, but you owe serious, real economic development should be seen and forward progress in the black community. And we need to stop to see a lot of people making money. A black death is a hustle.
Yeah.
I say this
Let me
all
ask
the
this
time.
here. I want to go to another point because
Right,
I see
right.
something coming around
Uh-huh.
that I think needs some attention. There is a process of legalizing marijuana.
Okay.
We heard the governor say that he's for that. We hear people passing legislation. We hear people talking about stocks. We hear people talking about dispensaries. What is your opinion about the legalization of marijuana in the city of Chicago?
Well, first of all, they need to commute the sentences for people locked up for selling marijuana.
So we're talking about
Right.
expungements.
Well, yeah, sponsor commute their sentence.
Right.
Release them
Okay.
immediately. That's number one.
Okay.
Because the data dictates the fact that only 65 to 70% of the overall prison populations throughout our nation is for nonviolent crimes.
Right.
So let them guys out of jail. They did it in Colorado. They did it in California
Right.
to a degree. So then we can use that once you legalize it. We can make some money and help balance the budget or pay for special programs. or whatever.
So with the legalization
Yeah.
of marijuana, which would bring in revenue,
Right.
which would increase taxes, which folks would pay taxes on this marijuana from these dispensaries, and they also have opportunities to license the sales of marijuana and all that other good stuff. You saying you are pro or con against that?
Now I'm for it. It's just them brothers that got locked up and sisters that got locked up for selling marijuana. They should be some of the first people that can open up the dispensaries.
So your thought would be, even if you are going to entertain the legalization, because it's already legal for municipal purposes.
Yes.
But if you're going to legalize recreational use for adult individuals on cannabis, you're saying before we even entertain that legislation, let's put some legislation together that would provide some expungement, exoneration, or whatever you call it, to release some of these brothers and sisters who have been incarcerated for class 4 felonies for possession or distribution of marijuana. Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
get them out of the penitentiaries, them
Okay.
prisons,
Okay.
ASAP.
Okay. Now, what about the thought of individuals owning some of these dispensaries, being licensed to? There's 60 dispensaries allocated for the state of Illinois. You know that, right?
Yes.
50 have already been taken already.
Really?
There's only 5 left.
So it's 5 left.
5 left.
If there was
55
55.
is already taken.
So 50 are already taken.
Right.
Okay.
So that's 5 dispensaries left. Now, I submit. What should we do with those 5?
Well,
dispensaries?
first we need to see who purchased the 50.
You know who got
So
it.
if it's an inside
Yeah.
track, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Them brothers and sisters that come out to jail that have been convicted for selling marijuana.
They can't sell. They can't have a
Well, we
dispensary.
need to meet with the governor and say that's who should have the dispensaries.
Okay.
They not ready to serve time for it. Now it's legal. At least give 30% of those dispensaries to some of the people.
But
Yeah.
the legislation, I think, it prohibits
I got
folks
you.
who have been incarcerated for any felonies.
Right, I got you. Well,
So
what's
and
that?
that's the key.
That's the key,
In
right.
a lot of stuff around the state.
Okay.
Folks who've been convicted or been incarcerated can't have barber's license, right?
Right.
Can't school like educations, can't be around kids, those kind of things.
All that, right.
So we're saying, what should we do with those 5? With
Well,
those
they need to
remaining
go
5?
to some key stakeholders from our community. Seriously.
And what should the resources or the revenue as a result of the legalization of recreational use for marijuana, where should those funds go?
Yeah, help rebuild the communities. We need a lot of businesses open out here. Just go on the
Yeah.
economic blitz, so to speak, and just open up all them storefronts on 79th Street.
Which and the West Side.
and the West Side, right? Madison and Pulaski.
I mean, because it's a
16
shame. It's a
Lindale,
shame
right.
all of this property.
Right.
And I mean, it don't really take that much to rehab a place.
Not at all.
Man.
Not at
Come
all.
on, 50 grand.
No, we
you
need
know?
a straight up plan to rebuild our community so we can provide some instill hope in our young brothers and sisters out there.
So would you agree that there may be that we may need to sit down as a group of leaders, committed servants for social change, and create a strategic plan, action plan, a logic model, a serious one on how we can move forward?
Count me in.
Listen, you heard it. You heard it here first. You heard it with Tio. For additional information, give us the number at Violence Interrupters.
773-391-9072, violenceinterrupters.org. Reach out to me.
Listen, it's been fun. It's been a stone, guys. We'll see you next week. Listen, it's been always nice to see you guys and hear from you guys. Tio, we hope you feel better,
Yeah, I'll be
good
all
brother.
right.
Yeah, he came out even though he was under the weather. We want to continue to lift him up in prayer and lift up all the good brothers and sisters that's out there that's laboring for righteousness' sake for the least of us. And we want to thank all of you who love somebody to help somebody. So continue to support somebody as we continue to move on and do the good work. Listen, it's been Father Sukir. Our number here is 773-287-5821. The next show is going to be some of our good brothers coming in, and you'll be the guest on that show.
That'd be good.
So you're going to get a chance to continue to talk to Tio. Those who are watching, continue to watch as the good brothers come in to do the show. And we want to continue to tell you, listen, young people can't be what they can't see. So if we want our young people to be the best that they can be, show them what they can be. All right, God bless you. Good night. Keep the faith and let's do the work. Let's continue to do the work, and we'll see you on the other side. Good night.